So is Tom Hanks justified for yelling at a fan last week? Did you see what happened, Matt?
I did see what happened. It was pretty incredible. I mean, I gotta admit, I was shocked when I heard Tom Hanks use the F word.
Yeah.
Never have I ever heard him do that, because he's known as like the nicest guy in Hollywood. Yeah. He's considered America's dad.
You never see him do anything wrong.
Right.
I mean, he's Forrest Gump, for heaven's sake. So, and this is, we're not trying to be critical of Tom Hanks. So here's what happened. Let us know if you saw the video, if you think he was justified or not in the comments, and how you feel about this. Because it taught us a really good lesson that we want to share with you. That's why we're coming on live with you today. So Tom Hanks, they're leaving somewhere, and it looks like he's got a bodyguard. They're in New York City, and they're just leaving this building to try to get to their car. And it looks like there was some paparazzi there and some fans. And they're walking out, and as one of the fans is right next to Rita Wilson, standing kind of right behind her, she's walking. And
he's got like a hat and a pin, because it looks like he's trying to get it signed or something. But you're right, he's not paying attention.
So like she's walking and he's walking. She stops, and then he, boom, runs into her, and she trips. And Tom Hanks is right here. He turns around, and yells.
Right.
Like, get away.
Back the blank up.
From us.
From my wife.
And that was from my wife, and that was it. And then they got in the car.
Right. You could tell, though, even as they were walking, they were already in a mood, like, they maybe had they weren't, very excited to see this crowd getting off the plane or whatever.
That would be really annoying. Like, you just want to go to your car.
Right.
That's all I want to do.
And I get it. It's just so uncharacteristic of Tom Hanks.
Right.
Because like we've said, he's always so nice and friendly and funny.
Yep.
And so for him to be irritated like that, and at first, from what I had read in the news copy, Rita tripped on her own. But after watching the video again, I did see that she had stopped because there was someone in front of her taking a picture, and the guy ran right into her. So they were pretty annoyed. It's like, they're already frustrated.
Space.
Like, can we just get to our car? We want to get home to our kids or whatever. And then all of a sudden, boom, he knocks her over. And so I get it. Two things. One, I think he was defending his wife. Right. And for me, that was a real testimony of they have one of the longest marriages in Hollywood. A great relationship.
It's a Guinness Book of World Records situation. Yeah.
And it's just proof positive that they do have this great relationship, that he defends her and everything. So I thought that was cool. Now, I don't think it warrants him swearing, but we've all been there, We've all been in those situations. Either maybe he's tired, he's frustrated. We've all been in those situations where we do things we regret. And I think it's great that most people that I've heard from are giving him grace and sympathy, that, hey, we understand that you were upset and you were justified. And,
I think so too. Is it because that Tom Hanks has a history of being such a nice guy that we give him more grace for this blow up? And what can we learn
I think
about
so.
that?
Because if it was Alec Baldwin or some other person that's known to blow up like that, we're like, typical Alec Baldwin or whatever. But because it's Tom Hanks, he's America's dad. A lot of us grew up with him for some period of time, for many decades. So it's like he's our friend. It's like he's our dad. So it's like, oh my gosh, Rogers. My dad used the F word. Right? Holy cow, he's Mr. Rogers, for goodness sakes. So, again, I think we all give him some grace because we know that it's tough out there. And then a lot of people are saying that, celebrities are human beings as well. We see them as these characters, basically, that we don't really know, but they are human beings, and we have to treat them like such. And so...
Well, I just think it's a lesson for me, too. I don't want to put it on anybody else, but I just thought I want to be like... kind of like Tom Hanks, like known to be someone that doesn't react. So when I do, which inevitably it can happen, it's so rare that people automatically, it's okay. Are you okay? Are you having a bad day? Like, they give you grace because it's so rare that you have a reaction to something.
Right. Exactly. I want that.
That's the lesson. In my opinion, that's my takeaway from the situation, because I almost lost it at my son's baseball game over the weekend.
Oh, really?
And thank goodness my dad was there, because there was another parent there that was really loud and was irritating us. and my son was pitching, and he was like yelling at his dog really loud when my son was pitching. And, I'm always like, is my son pitching? Like, I'm like, hush, hush.
Sure.
Like, and I'm sitting there like, so my trick is, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing that I admit to this, but when I feel angry, like I wanted to stand up and go tell that big dude to stop yelling at his big dog while my son was pitching. No, right. He has every right to do that. Like at the game, it just irritated me. Right.
Right.
So I sat there like this. Oh, I just sat there going, no, Amanda, like I knew in my flesh that I was just personally mama bear annoyed.
Good for you. Hey, you had that self-control. That's good.
Not always do I do that, but that's one of my tricks. Sometimes, especially with raising teenagers, because I'm learning they can say the most outlandish things and they do it to get kind of like
a reaction.
That's so right. Lately I'm just like this.
Yeah, that's good. You've learned
well. Because I wasn't doing that the right way,
Right.
And because my mouth could get me in trouble. So I'm like, okay, I don't know. But what do you think? So I think is there anybody that thinks that this still was not okay? Was not like you don't get obviously embraced for this, or what do you think?
Well, somebody commented that it's the Hollywood elite, they're privileged and they have to get used to this. This is what they signed up for, and I agree to some point. Yeah, but still, he's a human being and he's allowed to get frustrated every once in a while, especially when his wife gets knocked over by this paparazzi. Really, a lot of it was paparazzi. It wasn't just fans. They were waiting for him, and they had the cameras out and everything. So it's different, and I do agree that celebrities do sign up for this, but they're still human beings and they get frustrated from time to time. Now with the Will Smith situation,
I was going to bring that up.
He is known as a pretty nice guy too.
You're right.
But again, that I think was different because he was on a public stage, and
live on television.
It's a little bit different. We still need to show mercy and grace because, oh my gosh, I don't want that kind of criticism. Who am I to judge? It's like cast the first stone because I don't want that kind of judgment. I mean, holy cow, they're being watched 24/7. Imagine if there was paparazzi going with us on a road trip for 3 weeks and they saw everything that I did when I reacted to my kids or when we were in Universal Studios or whatever. I don't want that kind of criticism. I don't want that kind of judgment. So, whoever it is.
You just never know what somebody's going through.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You never know what somebody's going through, and to always, instead of going, I'm going to write that person out of my life.
Right.
You okay? Anything I can do? Because that seems really uncharacteristic.
And they did apologize. They did say sorry. The people that pushed and all that. It was an accident. It wasn't on purpose. But at the same time, they should have given him some space, I think. But in any event, I would too.
I think if Tom Hanks yelled at me, I would cry. Oh, sorry.
It's like your dad yelled at you. Oh my God.
I know. That'd be so scary. Well, what do we got on the show tomorrow? We got some good stuff for you. The greatest love story I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's how my wife and I got together and got married.
No, it's not.
It's not? Man.
I'm sure that's a beautiful love story as well. But this is a love story of a couple that have been married for over 60 years. And it will give you the encouragement. And I guess for me, it was just edifying, if that's the right word to use, that true love is real and that it lasts even into old age. Like romance doesn't stop.
Right.
That's going to be at 8:10 tomorrow on 103.9 The Fish. Would love for you to tune into that. And also talking tomorrow about this new study that said the less and less people in the United States are believing in God.
Sure, that's not surprising to me.
It went down, but it went down to 8 out of 10 people instead of 9 out of 10 people. So I feel like it's still not that bad,
Yeah.
The numbers were from 1944. So I'm always try to look at the bright side kind of person. So we're going to talk about...
means more work needs to be done by us Christians, right?
How can we
show that God is real in our lives? How can we be a testimony?
How can we be the proof that is tomorrow?
Don't just be critical of, hey, well, here's America again, becoming more secular and not believing in God. Well, what am I doing about it? Obviously, I'm failing as a Christian to have greater influence in our culture. Yeah. I need to step up my game.
Yep.
And show that God exists in my life.
We're going to talk about that at 8:40, and we would love for you to join us. Weigh in on the show at any time. We'd love, leave your comments here if you think about anything about how can we be the proof to people that there are more, that God is real. Leave a comment, and we'll put it on the show, or call us at any time, 916-349-1039. Anything else? I'm glad you're back from vacation.
Yeah.
I'm
glad too.
I'm
glad, but who wants their vacation to end?
I know.
My wife did, though. She was ready to go back home and get into bed.
I bet so. I just want a vacation to start. I just want to figure out a way to afford to drive somewhere. That's all I'm working on this
I know.
summer.
Who can afford that?
Because now I'm filling up my daughter's car with gas, too. That didn't dawn on me. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's the worst. Have a great day, Fish fam. We love you so much. Bye.